welcome. We are so excited to be live today. Today, I wanted to do something a little different. I have seen just so much online about, people just being frustrated and not knowing what to do, not knowing where to start, not knowing where their struggles are. And so I wanted to bring my friend and mentor, Jennifer Abbs, on to interview her and see what she has to share and her story that can maybe inspire all of us to do a little more and to jump in a little bigger. And so we are here to talk about both your income and your energy, because there's so much that your energy brings to your business. So I'm going to let Jen get into that. But so thank you for being here and joining us on the live.
Thank you
for the viewers that for the viewers that don't know you, share a little bit about your journey online and how you got started.
Yeah. So, normal mom, right? Just got married, just bought a house, just had a baby. And I thought I was going to work my career forever. I was climbing the corporate ladder in retail. I was a store manager for CVS at the time. I wanted to be a district manager. Now, for that company and for several companies, I was always limited by not having a college degree. And it never made sense for me to learn shit I didn't care about to get a piece of paper for someone else to tell me how much money I was worth. I had some success in network marketing in my early 20s. I'd always been attracted to the idea that there's passive income and investments and unlimited income potential, but I didn't know anyone around me who was actually doing those things. And so when my daughter was born and they laid her head on my chest, I was like, yeah, I'm not leaving her 50 hours a week. Can I stay at home? And their dad said, if you can make 500 a month from home, then you can stay home. I just bought a brand new truck. So he's like, you take care of the truck and I'll take care of everything else. And so no skills. My Facebook account had 150 friends that I personally knew. There was no one that I didn't actually meet in my life. It was for staying connected with my friends and with my family. And so I was brought to an opportunity and I thought, well, I don't want to mix the two. I don't want my friends and family. I know I'm the crazy one. I don't want my friends and family to see me selling these things online. So I'm going to create a new account. And this account that you see with the 22,000 or 24,000 now followers is that brand new account that I was like, I don't want anyone to see what I'm doing. I'm going to start. So I had no audience. I had no influence at all. I didn't know anybody. The program that I was selling was about real estate investing and financial literacy. So the first thing that I did back then, we used oh gosh, it's a Craigslist. So I went to Craigslist and I called people on Craigslist, right, and said, it looks like you're a real estate investor. Can we meet? Can we have coffee? And I built a community out of what I wanted to do by interviewing people who were already doing it. And then I joined Facebook groups. And all of those groups had the word real estate investing. I didn't join any other groups. I was a real estate investor. I only wanted to be surrounded by real estate investors. And that's how I got started. That's the opportunity that doubled my salary in my first year. And then, yeah, so that's where I got started. No skills, no audience, no nothing.
And I think a lot of people, that's their main fear, right? Is like, I want to do this, but I don't want Sally from high school to see me doing it, or Aunt Susie that, is always judging me or whatever. So how did it feel to start a brand new account and know no one?
I personally thrive in the environment where so as a child, I went to a different school every year. And so I'm very good at not being the new kid on the first day, like finding one person to lock arms with, to be like, cool, I have one best friend. That's all I need. I just need one friend. And so it wasn't just the groups. but I was meeting these people for coffee and asking them about their business and how many flips they had done and how they were wholesaling and how much money they've made and what's their average flip and what do they see in the marketplace. Like, it's interesting because rich people will give you their time for free if you value it.
Yeah.
But so I just made it a point to know who was not pretending to do it, but who I could drive to the flip and walk the flip and ask them questions.
Yeah.
And so I would say it felt freeing because you're like, no one know, like when you start a new account, no one knows your history. No one knows your past. No one knows all your things that you're afraid of. You just get to show up as this. For me, I was showing up as the HGTV star because I was immersed in the shows back then, and I was like, these girls could do it. I could do it. I'm smart, you know? And so I put myself in the position as that character online, and I demonstrated it, right? So I wasn't talking about it. I was being about it. I was talking about flips. I was talking about investors. I was sharing the stories of what I was learning and what I was reading. And so I was indirectly creating a community around people where we actually did have the same thing in common, which was creating passive income through real estate investing.
That's fantastic. So you quit your job, totally no plan, except to raise your daughter and somehow pay off your truck. So what did it feel like when you hit like that first milestone, like your first $10,000 month? What did that feel like?
Yeah. So let me back up because I see a lot of people trying one thing and then they're like, that didn't work. I'm done. So when I first got into this, I went to a seminar I was invited by the girls' father's grandmother. And 3 days later, we got enough information to be extremely dangerous. She had 4 rentals, so she had real estate experience. And she was like, Jen, let's do this and we'll split it. So she put $15,000 down. I put $15,000 down, and we bought a course, right? From a seminar, from a real. Now, what happens when you buy a course from a seminar that flies in on Thursday and flies out on Sunday and make about $1 million that weekend is once you get home, you don't know where to start. You don't have a starting point. If you want to coach, you got to drop another 10 grand. It's a 1-800 number. And then I later learned, because I recruited my sales coach into my opportunity, that it's literally people being trained to read a sales script. They're not real estate investors. They're not in the marketplace. They don't actually have the answer. They just know how to answer the question and read a script. And so that was my first investment into my future, right? I'm going to spend this money and I'm going to get this money back. That was also my first lesson in the course is a part of it, but the community is really what you need, because you need realtors, you need hard money lenders, you need plumbers, you need contractors, you need all of these people. And going and buying the education is one thing. Applying the education is a whole separate investment. And they don't talk about that because they just want you to get you to spend your money by Sunday. Right. So I have all of this information. They get you to raise your credit lines on day one. I've got $85,000 overnight because I raised all my credit cards on that day so that I could afford this program. So now in my mind, I'm like, I got money for a flip, baby. Let's do this. Right.
Yeah.
So I went to the next event, which was like a local one, like a month later. And in between, I'm interviewing people I'm going to Facebook. I'm taking people to coffee. Like I created local community, right? I'm taking people to coffee and I'm like, how do you do this? How do you do this? How do you do this? Right. And so I go to this local event, and everyone in this event had paid the same $30,000. We're all students of the seminar. It's a little 2-day event. And this one guy's at the back of the class and he knows everything. He knows all the answers. Very respectful though, but just that guy that you are drawn to. You're like, if I partner with that guy, like I'm a shoe in, you know? So I did. I partnered with him. And then there was another guy that was from San Francisco. We had a lot of things in common. I'm from California. The kids' father's from the Bay Area. And so the three of us exchanged phone numbers and collaborated. We were getting deals under contract after that weekend off the MLS. We were contacting realtors. Like you had a checklist to follow. You had to call realtors. You had to do all the MLS. You had to do all the research and stuff. So we were doing that. We had a house under contract, and I was to put up the money, and Rick was going to manage the whole thing, and Charlie was going to put in sweat equity. He didn't have any money to bring to the table, so he was going to come demo, help with the contracting, like do stuff like that. And then we all had certain splits. Right. Then we bought a second house together. So we got 2 flips. I'm doing it. I'm like, HGTV, baby. Yeah. Right. Yeah. It didn't work out that way. 6 months later, there's 2 pink slips on the front door of both the houses because I was paying Rick to pay the hard money lender, and the hard money lender wasn't getting paid. And the contractor was, so I didn't put it together because I was paying the contractor directly through PayPal. So in my mind, we were on track. And there's a lot of theories behind it. Obviously, I asked him what was going on. You know, I was part of a local community, so people were driving past the house to see the flip. And you know, one day my friend Ray calls me and he's like, Jen, you got a pink slip on your front door. And this is going to lead into what you resist persists. I was resisting losing my money. I was resisting 2 foreclosures. I was resisting going through a divorce. I thought if I hold it all together, it's going to work. Like I could do this all by myself, right? Biggest mistake I made. So I'll share that because that's how I flipped it to bring in 6 figures within 6 months, right? Because I had to flip that script. And so very fear-based, very ignorant, very afraid to confront authority figure, right? Like all those things where you're like, he's going to lose money too. And then you realize, oh, he doesn't have any skin in this game at all, actually. He did because he had the hard money lender loan in his LLC. So he did lose also. He ended up filing bankruptcy on the LLC. But I lost my money. I had a family member write me 2 checks totaling $50,000. Like I didn't just lose that, my reputation and my trust in myself and integrity, like all of that. And it felt overnight. I watched it. I invited it in because I was so fear-based of losing it all. I lost it all. It's the only thing I could do. There was no other way. Yeah. And so that was my first business, and said and done, right? My husband left. I have not 2 pennies to rub together. This person approaches me that I had been friends with for a few months, right? Everyone's watching Jen's fucking HGTV thing. And he says, I can teach you how to turn your story into $10,000 a month. And I was like, no, you can't. Like, no, you can't. And so he was asking me to join another real estate education that was $20,000. And I just kept telling him, like, even if I wanted to, even if I believed you, I don't have the money. I don't have the credit. No one's going to trust me and give me any money anymore. Like I lost it all. I lost it all. So one day I'm at Vegas. I lied. This is before my husband left because he's on this trip. So we're at Vegas. Hi. I think I'm looking for someone else. No, you're looking for me, but I'm on a call. But you're fine. This is work. So,
so sorry.
You're good.
You're all set.
Okay.
I thought I talked to somebody else.
You did. I took a shower and curled my hair.
Amazing what a shower will do for you.
You're where the garage door is open.
Yep. I leave it open. Thank you. Real life here. We got a plumber in the house. When he saw me, my head was like this. I just got done with the walk. So he's like, I think I was talking to someone else. I'm like, I just cleaned up really good. Okay.
A shower will do that for you.
So we're at Vegas with some friends, and I'm learning manifesting, right? I was given this book called The Magic 28-Day Gratitude Challenge. Literally changed my life because it opened up my awareness. It opened up my reality to show me everything I was focusing on is why I lost it. My fear was so intense on losing and disappointing everyone that was the train track I was on, was fear and disappointment. So I'm reading this book diligently. I'm listening to manifesting stuff. And I'm in my mind, because I'm a gambler and I do win often. Nothing crazy. $1,000, $2,500 twice in one night was my, like, if I took $5,000 home one night here locally, but I win often, right? So I'm always in that energy of winning. And so I'm literally like, oh, we're in Vegas. Like, God's going to give me the perfect machine. I'm going to win money. I'm going to be able to buy into this program and I'm going to get out of debt, right? Like, life's going to work out for me after all. So I'm sitting there and I'm mad. Everyone's asleep. My kids, they're 2 years old, 1 and 2. Like, everyone's asleep, right? I'm manifesting. And I get a call, and it's Kevin, my mentor in the real estate thing. And he goes, I found you the money. And I was like, what? And he's like, I found you the money. You are getting started. And I was like, all right, well, I just manifested $10,000 because that's how much the person gave me. So what happens when you surround yourself with people who see investment opportunities? This woman had money sitting in a bank, about $250,000 sitting in a bank that she was saving for a real estate transaction. Kevin positioned her to say, hey, I'm going to pay you interest on your money. I'm going to show her exactly how to do this. So your money's safe. She's going to tie it to a promissory note. I was tied to equity, tied to an asset. Can you give her the $10,000 and she'll pay you back in interest? So I paid her interest payments. Never met this woman ever. I think she had seen me, but I didn't know who she was. I met her at a Subway. Signed a promissory note, found a business partner, so I didn't have to borrow the whole 20. That was too big for me. It was too scary. Found a business partner. She borrowed 10. I borrowed 10. My first sale was in 30 days because I went after Charlie. So Charlie, the third business partner in the foreclosures, also he didn't lose any money because he was putting in sweat equity. But when those two transactions ended in foreclosure, his opportunity and hope to quit his job. He's got a wife. He had 2 girls. And I called him and I was like, I got something. What we didn't get out of the seminar, we're going to get here out of a local community.
Yeah.
And I didn't do any closing. I learned how to put 2 people together and shut my mouth. So I introduced Charlie into Kevin and I introduced Kevin to Charlie. I shared their stories to each other and edified them. And then I heard how Kevin led Charlie to make the decision to purchase Renatus, which was $20,000, which was my first sale in 30 days. And I targeted it. I was like, I know exactly who needs it. And I don't want to say I convinced him in a bad way. Charlie stayed in Renatus. We remained friends all until COVID, and I didn't see anybody anymore. But where a lot of people would have said, oh my God, this is devastating. They better go get a job. I could have. And for me, that would have been the easy way. The easy way out would have been to go back to work.
Yeah.
But I chose to, that didn't work. So let's go do it how it does work. And I started sharing on Facebook, not the story of poor me, pitiful me, but the story of if I can overcome this, what can you overcome too? Yeah. And how do we flip what you're looking at and the energy on what you're focused on? Excuse me.
And so I think a lot of people, these are big numbers, right? That you were able to invest, you were able to find people to partner with you, you were able to raise your credit line, right? Like not everyone's in that situation. So, talk about, what people listening to this and hearing this, going, you're up to $100,000 at this point. Like, I can't do that. What can they learn from this experience?
So the first thing is people don't understand how big 8 billion people are. Yeah. We think we live in a small world. What I can tell you is I sat in a seminar. I was a seminar junkie all through 2016 and 2017. And every single room was full of people just like me. We had money in our 401ks. We had great credit scores. We had careers. So when people say, well, not everybody's like that, not everybody's my person. Mm-hmm. I work with people who are financially savvy. And even if they're not today, right? I love spending money. I get myself into debt all the time and then I go pay it off and then I go right back into it. Like that's a cycle I've always been in for sure. But you can say to yourself, we can say to ourselves, well, that's not me. Or we can say, how can that become me?
Exactly.
Right? It is you. Every person has potential. Every person has access to money. I mean, When I lost everything, I'm sure my credit score was 490, right? I had 13 credit cards at one point calling me every single day. And I know that number because I literally bought a credit card holder. I had so many credit cards, Home Depot, Lowe's, everything. I had them all, flight cards. Like, I had them all before I filed bankruptcy. So at that point, I'm way down here. I still borrowed 10 grand. I still turned it into $10,000. Then I turned it into 20. Then I turned it into 30. No credit score, no money, no pennies to rub together, not knowing how I was going to pay rent, and 2 girls in diapers. So it doesn't matter where you are realistically. It matters what you believe about what you can do with what you got. It's called resourcefulness. I'm very resourceful. And everybody
moves into, a lot of that money mindset, right? So I've heard you talk so much about money mindset and what that looks like, and what financial freedom truly means. And, we hear all these buzzwords, right? About like, oh, you have to, do all this stuff, and you have to, make this much money, and you have to invest this much money. And, people get scared of that. Put it on a credit card, finance it, do the credit limit thing, because so many people have been burned by that. Yeah. So talk about that adjustment of the money mindset from I can't afford this to how can I make this happen?
Yeah, no, this is brilliant. We actually have a course coming right now. So if you click on the link at the top of my profile, you're going to see the book that we just finished called You Were Made for Impact. And we're going to have a course on this specifically. Let me show you how I flipped it. So I told you about gratitude, right? I learned about this thing called gratitude. And a lot of people believe that they're grateful because they say the words thank you. But gratitude is an emotion. It's when you receive a gift from someone and it's the perfect gift and you didn't expect it, and you're just in this place of receiving and of love and of all of the feel-good bubbles, right? Romantic movies, like all the things that bring those emotions out in us. That is the emotion that we want to attract to money, because we love it's not money, right? Money's no different than this phone. But if I don't make a phone call or play a game or do something, this phone is useless. I can throw it out the window. Money's useless until it's exchanged for something. Now, if you grew up with a parent that told you we don't have money till Friday, and you heard that your whole life, you're programming your subconscious mind to not have money until Friday because you believe your dad is smart. Your dad's right. I don't have money till Friday. Money till Friday.
Right.
If your grandfather, like my grandfather taught me, if you can't afford to pay cash, you can't afford it. That was a good idea, except when you're investing, because you borrow other people's money to invest. So right? So you start, when you're in this process of bringing more money in, and you come from an employee mindset, right? Now, in my career, I started on day one, right, as an assistant manager. I'm at Harbor Freight Tools. My boss is showing me what to do when I'm doing it. He shows me the next thing and I do it. He shows me the next thing and I do it. My brain adapts it. I now work. I get a paycheck every week. I'm not figuring anything out. I'm not using my mental capacity because I'm following what he's doing. Follow the leader, follow the leader. So if you follow 25 years of that programming where you're not actually using this awareness, this self-awareness up here, then you just continue to follow into the matrix, into the system. But when you work for yourself, there are things, no one's telling you anything, right? No one's telling, you might have a mentor or a coach, or you might be trying to figure it out on your own. And so if we don't create what's called self-awareness, and that's the place that I believe is the most important work, no matter what you're doing. And you can watch The Last Dance by Michael Jordan. You can watch
great movie.
What's the Arnold Schwarzenegger? Like, I watch all these documentaries on Netflix because you have to see they don't think like other people think.
No.
They're number one and number one. I like to be like number 3. I like to fly below the radar. Number 1 puts a lot of pressure on me. I'm like, I just need to be on the leaderboard. I don't need to be the best on the leaderboard. But it comes from this self-awareness of there's a saying, the quality of your life is equally distributed to the quality of questions you ask yourself.
Yeah.
So if I say, why am I always broke? Your brain will go into the filing cabinet of the past and bring you the answer. If you say, why am I so addicted to alcohol? Your brain will go, like, we ask ourselves limiting questions,
Mhm.
and then we command ourselves. The second we say, I can't, our brain shuts down. I
Yeah.
can't. It's not looking for information because you just said I can't. So when someone says I can't do this or I can't do that, I know that they're don't talk to them. It's shut down, right? It's shut down. There's no awareness. So when it comes to money, people have these beliefs about money, and there's this emotional attachment to money. Let me give you an example. I grew up where on Fridays was payday, so we got to buy Little Caesars pizza. Now, my parents spent money, which gave me an emotional attachment to the outcome of pizza on Friday.
Mhm.
But I knew we couldn't get pizza on Tuesday. I knew we couldn't get pizza on Thursday. I knew not to ask for money during the week because it's not here till Friday. So as a child, I am attaching emotional outcomes to what my parents and how they're responding to their money beliefs.
Right.
And then you might go to grandmas and grandpas. And then you might go, like, I always thought my aunt and uncle were rich. They had 3 cars in the driveway. My cousin got to go to college. She was a cheerleader. Like, I did cheerleading, and my grandparents paid for my cheerleading because we couldn't
Mhm.
afford it. But my grandparents always helped us out. Right. So then you grow up with other family members and you're like, I think I'm the poor kid because grandma and grandpa are buying groceries for our house. Like, you start to make these connections. And as a young girl, without the tools of emotional intelligence and programming, and right, your parents don't know this stuff, so they're not invested in this stuff, then you create these emotional and financial attachments. And then
Mhm.
you grow up and you want it. And depending on what you believe about giving yourself permission to want, get it, you're trying to work, you're trying to
Right.
hustle, you're trying to grind. You're an employee for yourself, and you're probably not a nice boss to yourself. So then you don't like how your boss shows up to you. So then you don't want to work. And what we do is we're either seeking pain or seeking pleasure, or we're avoiding pain. So if pain is attached to making money, guess what we're not focused on? Because we're not a good boss to ourselves. We have shitty self-talk.
Yeah.
So we're not actually doing what moves the needle forward.
I love that. And I love that visual of the employee mindset and, being an employee of your own. Because I think that's something that people struggle with when they first want to own their own business. It's a dream, right? That's the American dream. Start your own business, do all this. But then when they realize there's no one to give them assignments, no one to tell them what to do, that can be a real struggle emotionally. For people, and especially the people who have been in the kind of jobs where you go in and you do your job and you do your job and you do the checklist and you check things off and then you leave. That's not entrepreneurship. So, with all of that, people right now, we're in this social media era, right? Like, there's 8 gajillion social medias. There's more coming every day. And people have all these opinions and thoughts about, like, Facebook doesn't work, or TikTok is just for kids, or YouTube is, turning into only shorts, or, whatever these beliefs are around social media. And more and more we're hearing, like, Facebook doesn't work. Facebook ads don't work. Email doesn't work. And so that becomes like shiny object syndrome, right? Like, okay, I'm going to post on Facebook. No, I'm not. I'm going to do TikTok. No, I'm not. I'm going to do Instagram. So what are your thoughts on that whole social media evolution?
Yeah. Oh, such a good question. So I've been through 10 years of the evolution. when I got started in 2017, we didn't have stories. We didn't have reels. If anyone went viral, it was on YouTube, right? And it was usually for being dumb because you're entertaining. And so, and I was able to make six figures within 6 months, right? The first 6 months was my trajectory. I'm bringing in $2,000 to $4,000 a month, barely making ends meet, but I'm making it. I'm grinding, right? Like I'm grinding. I can see that 10,000. I can feel that 10,000. I'm just like, I'm staying the course, right? And I stayed the course on Facebook, one platform, one message, one problem I solved. So my person also spent money on a course and got disappointed. I didn't talk about anything because I didn't have any other experience, right? So I really honed in. I also drowned the distraction. My feed is extremely intentional. I don't follow other gurus. I don't follow other coaches. Even now in this space, I don't follow a lot of people who don't believe in something that's going to bring out my greater good or my best self. I don't follow it. We talked about this, right? Unfollowing on those stories with all this, like, how was Facebook even allowing that? I don't know. Is email marketing dead? No. Email is how Netflix gets you to reset your password, or any other CRM system to reset your password. So when someone tells me people like email's dead, I'm like, okay, what that tells me is you're bombarded by emails, you're distracted, you don't have control of your emails, and you're projecting that onto the world.
Yeah.
I get a lot of people telling me, Jen, I can't afford it, or they'll find a way to afford it. And then 6 months, they're like, I didn't make any sales. You didn't make any sales because you didn't give yourself a good experience. You went in it with buyer's remorse. You have buyer's remorse. Your whole aura is, I hope this works. I hope this works. Meanwhile, I'm making 10,000 a month, so clearly it's working. But you're not giving yourself the discipline. You're not being a good boss to yourself. You're not being a loving boss to yourself. You're not cheerleading yourself. You don't have that internal discipline. So you're telling yourself that doesn't work. People think network marketing doesn't work. I've been in about 6 companies. Every one of them worked for me, right? So it works. But the truth is, and this one's going to sting, is most people don't take personal responsibility for their part in it not working. I'm going to give you an example. I talked to you about Rick. 6 figures gone, right? He shows up at a meeting with a gun on his hip because, Arizona's a right to bear arms state. Mind you, Rick is like 6.5 feet tall, big African-American man. Like, you can't not see him, and you're not going to go up to this guy. Like, he's intimidating. Now he's got a gun on his hip, right? Coming to our meeting. So people are looking to me because this is the first time I'd seen him since 2 foreclosures later.
Yeah.
So who am I going to be in front of an audience, right? I believed him still. He said he was working with the hard money lender, that we had a loan. He gave me all the things. And honestly, I wanted to believe him. I wanted to. So I just chose to. Like, okay, well, you know what? I already lost the money. I already lost the spouse. I already lost the stuff. So I can hate you, or I can just keep believing that maybe you did have good intentions. And maybe this, I don't know. I don't know that I'll ever get closure and I'll ever get the truth. But I saw him at an airport like 6 months later, and everyone else hates this guy. Like, he's been blackballed. His picture went all over Facebook. Don't do business with this guy, right? Like, people that knew. So remember earlier our conversation I was sharing with you about bringing your mentor to people? I brought everyone to Rick. I closed money for Rick. Everyone, I edified Rick for 6 months. So they were all like, oh, Jen was who we should have contacted.
Right.
Didn't know what I didn't know. So I was sitting on the conveyor belt thing, waiting for it to start. My bags are coming off, and I look up, and there's Rick. And there's no way he did not see me. And I immediately got that pit in my stomach feeling where you're like, oh, right? And then I just looked away for a second, and I thought, you know what? God bless this man. He's probably going to end up 6 feet under. He's going to mess with the wrong person who is going to have the husband that's going to shoot him or something. Like, I can't concern myself with his devious deceptions. I learned through it. I forgive him. I'm not going to make eye contact and hang out. But there was no negative feeling. It was truly like, I forgive you. It was a journey I went through in my life, and you happened to be there. And how can I take the good that came out of that journey, which is all the relationships I built, all the people who called me, they tried to help me, they tried to give me advice, and I just, no, Rick's got us, But there was so much more that came out of that once I opened up my own awareness and started journaling and writing things down. And I was like, okay, like, yeah, I couldn't afford to lose all that money, but I could afford to embody the lessons, and then let's see where that takes me. And so everything comes from an energetic state of mind. Thoughts do become things. And it takes some time. It's like if you've got a yacht out in the ocean and you want to turn the yacht around, like, you don't just turn the yacht around and go pocket towards $1 million, right?
Right.
You got to adjust the course. You got to put some things in place so that the yacht safely turns around and you come back. And that's really what this work does. That's what the work is. That's what the book is about. That's what I do with my one-on-one coaching clients, is like, people think that I'm not teaching them something, right? Like, what am I missing? Well, number one, within my first year, when I made money and after my bills were paid, I bought another coach. I bought another mentor, because I wasn't here to make money. I was here to be a business owner for the rest of my life and never get a job. So within my first year, I just did the math. I invested $106,000 into private coaching and courses and things to keep me around people. And then I continued that all through COVID and stuff. And so in doing that, you're bringing yourself into other communities. You're putting yourself into other communities where people are making more money than you. They know how to solve the problems that you've got because they've already solved them. They're onto a different problem, right? And so when you put yourself, and you got to spend money, when you put yourself in the position to learn from other people, it's called a mastermind. It's in Think and Grow Rich. Then some incredible things happen, because as you and I know with our partnership, you got a lane that don't explain it to Jen, because I'm lost, right? And I don't need to take the time to be in your lane because I have a lane, and I don't need to explain my lane because you might get lost.
Yeah.
Right? So it really is about coming together. But when you come together with other people, you have to have ownership and you're part of the team, or you're going to break the whole team down.
Yeah.
It takes one bad apple to screw the game up, you know?
Yeah. And, you talk about energy and, law of attraction and bringing in more money and all of that. I think for people who truly invest in that and believe in that and manifest that, it's become very buzzy out in the community, right? Like very woo, like, oh, I'm manifesting, whatever. But for people that truly believe that and want to embody that, what is the biggest mistake you see people making when it comes to that kind of actual energy development within themselves?
Yeah, that's such a good question. And so two truths can exist at the same time, right? I can see the world as everyone around me is poor and doesn't have any money. And I can go over here and see this community or this world as, wow, everyone has 401ks and 850 credit scores and owns 3 homes and has 17 cars, right? But we choose our reality. And if you don't get out of the conscious state of mind, which is what I actually see, then you can't build a dream even bigger. So what I see with manifesting is people are in fantasy land, right? They live in, I've already attained the car. I've already attained freedom. Like, a lot of people online can talk about passive income or financial freedom because they know it, but they're not experiencing it. Because if they were experiencing it, they'd be making sales. Yeah. They're not. They're talking about it, and that's why no one is buying from them. So when it comes to creating an energy is contagious. You can go into a room and you're immediately drawn to a person, and you don't know what it is about that person. You're just like, wow, like that person lights it up. They, or they give you a safe place to be a friend, or you've got the opposite. You walk into a room and you're like, oh my God, I don't know what it is, but I got to get out of this room. Like I just don't, right? So that energy is contagious. And the more that you're self-aware that you are emitting, see, everyone looks at everyone else's energy, but they don't take a look and go, well, what am I emitting?
Yeah.
So if someone is constantly in lack and in scarcity, right, then their language is about, I can't do this. I can't afford it. I don't have the time. I don't know where to start. They're looking at what is physically in front of them. This is a phone, right? It's a communication device. Like they're looking at everything that's in front of them and that's real and that's true. And then you've got the dream, right? $10,000 a month, traveling, whatever that dream is. But we got to connect the dots. So you think of a bridge, right? And you think of a bridge and you've got wood slats, right? Like a bridge, you got, right? So the bridge is built because you nailed down one slat at a time. Well, if you're over here and you're negative in your bank account and you don't have anyone you can borrow money from, maybe you live in a city all alone, you don't have daycare, and then you're seeing moms making 10, 20, 30 grand a month online, that bridge is too far. It's too far. You like that sounds amazing. I wish I could do that, but I'm here. So what happens is you have to logically get to one step. So most people goal set incorrectly. They goal set from here to 10,000 a month. I want 10,000 a month. But that's not how you goal set. You want to set targets, and you want to set targets that you can hit. So let's say I want 10 customers this week. If I say I've got a goal to get 10 customers this week and I don't have any self-discipline and I'm busy all the time, right? Friday's going to come. I didn't get shit done. I'm disappointed again. I'm reminding myself of what a failure I am, and maybe I'll do it again next week. And it's this constant state of I'm disappointing myself. I'm disappointing other people. I'm not enough, right? It's this constant state. Now, if you set micro targets, right? So if you're at the bridge, you're at the beginning of the bridge, you're negative in your bank account. You got the end of the bridge is $10,000 a month, and you set a micro target of I'm going to get started, and I'm going to watch the how-to video, and then I'm going to call Jen. I'm going to call Lauren, and then the next step is you're just going to do this one thing, and then the next step, and then the next step, and then the other thing is don't rely on other people to fucking cheerlead you. Right. Like if you need to be cheerleaded to get your ass out of bed, don't be a business owner, because we don't do it for the recognition. We do it so we can put food on our table. Like I don't need no one to clap for me, right? I'm doing this because I want to do it. So when it comes to setting goals, when it comes to setting targets, they have to be something that your brain goes, I can get one customer by Wednesday. Yeah, I can get 2 customers by Friday. And that's all. That's all. Because now you're on step 3. You're 3 steps closer to your $10,000. Yeah. Now, when it comes to your $10,000, you want to visualize. Okay, so we're talking about visualization for a second. Neville Goddard is a brilliant man. All of his stuff is free on YouTube. You can buy his books are really thin. I've got like 6 of them. Neville Goddard does a phenomenal job at not only explaining the science, but a lot of people will visualize, right? Like it's just me and I'm sitting on the beach and that's it. Like, oh, I'm at the beach. Oh yeah, that's a cool beach. All right, I'm at the beach. Okay, Jen said to visualize for 3 minutes. I'm at the beach for 3 minutes. But really the whole time they're like, I'm at the beach and I got to get the groceries and I got to pick up the kids and I got to go. They're not at the beach. When you're visualizing, you want to engage all 5 senses. So if you're sitting on the sand, then you want to think about your hands picking up the sand and letting it fall through your fingers. Or maybe your toes are like a little bit buried in the sand and you kind of like bury the top of your feet and you feel like that coldness. Or maybe you're walking on the beach and the water's running up and down your feet, so you feel the water on your feet. The sun is shining, right? How hot is it at the beach? Do you feel a breeze blowing? What are you hearing? Are your kids playing in the background, or are you completely alone? Are there other people at the beach? Is there no one at the beach? Are you eating? Are you drinking? Is someone with you? Like painting this entire image, and then you want to do that 2 or 3 times a day, if that is the goal. But then you've got to get the next step done to get the goal. And then the most important thing, and this is where everyone gets it wrong, is you have to release attachment to it. It doesn't mean anything if you hit it. It doesn't mean anything if you don't. If you cannot enjoy the joy and the journey of every single plank on that bridge, you're out. You've connected your business to pain. Your brain is avoiding the pain. You're done.
Yeah, and I think
You're
that's
done.
so important because, I think we, especially, go-getters, high achievers, we set those micro goals, but once we hit it, we're already at the next goal. And we don't take the time to say, a week ago, I didn't have this one customer. We're just saying, yeah, but I wanted 2. Yeah, but I needed 3. And we don't think about that, celebrating those micro goals along the way and appreciating, what we have done and the progress we've made, and being able to look back and go, dang, like I did a lot last week. So I think that's so important.
Yeah. It's important not only for you, but that's a great demonstration of self-awareness. Because if you're always chasing the next rank, the next money, the next thing, then it's not enough today. So then it's never going to be enough, and you're always chasing.
Yeah.
And we're human beings. We were meant to be. Right? Be love, be light, be acceptance, be fulfilled, be all those things. But if we grew up watching parents struggle, then we think it's normal. Well, my parents struggle, I struggle. Like this is part of the chain of struggle, right? But it's not actually our natural state of mind. Overwhelm is not a natural state of mind, right? Anxiety is not a natural state of mind. Hustling is not a natural state of mind. And the only place that we can manifest is in this moment, in this time. So we have a past, and our memory bank will attach everything to the past. And it's okay to go visit the past, but we don't want to live there, and we don't want to get there emotionally. And the same with the future. So depression is an attachment emotionally to the past, and anxiety is an attachment emotionally to the future. So if we don't take the time to flip this open and go, what is causing this anxiousness? What am I afraid of losing? Because it's loss. It's based on fear. It's in the book Think and Grow Rich, right? There's 6 basic fears that we have them: fear of getting old, fear of dying, fear of acceptance, fear of rejection. There's 6 of them. And if we are tied to that lack and that fear, what you resist persists. I know a lot of people right now coming out of the pandemic that are resisting connecting again because we just social distance and it became normal. We just argued about who's president and that became normal. We're arguing about vaccines and that's normal. We're arguing about this and that's normal. And so this resistance is actually persisting. And earlier you talked about there's a lot of people that have opinions. There's even less people that have advice, and even less that have quality advice. So a lot of people on the internet are either agreeing or they're sharing their own opinion and point of view. By the way, no one asked, right? You just feel like you are safe in your couch to talk, say whatever the fuck you want. So you're on other people's shit giving your opinion, but your opinion is not validated because if you're giving me an opinion on passive income, but you don't have eggs in your basket coming in, your opinion is not valid to me. There's no trust and there's no credibility. And so we live in a world right now where people are just free to share their opinion, but their opinion comes from a place of maybe information, but not actually experiencing the information. So it's a mute point. Just because you know about passive income doesn't mean you have passive income. And if you don't have it, in my mind, you don't have credibility to tell me about my passive income.
Such a good point, because I think, we see, especially in this digital space, that people are like, I'm going to start a digital business, so I'm going to coach people on how to have a digital business, who have never had or been successful at a digital business, especially in the world of AI, where people feel like they can just regurgitate through ChatGPT. So if people are just getting started in this industry and with this kind of work, the emotional work, the energy work, the actually making money online, not just thinking they want to make money online, what advice would you have for them on where to start?
Well, I think the place to start is the best community, which is the community that we have. And if you scroll up to the link in my profile, you can see that there's a free community. I teach you for free exactly what to do. It's called the Freedom Run. We have a business that's $25 where I teach you for free after you buy the $25 exactly how to launch that out into the world. Now, here's what happens is people come into this with the ego of what they did last in their career, right? Like, I was successful. I ran multi-million-dollar retail stores, and that girl's going to show up and do this. Well, no, she's not, because that girl needs to humble herself. This isn't that, right? What you hit last week has no relevance on what you're hitting today. So I think that there's some humility that has to come into play. I also think people are just straight up lying from everything. They lie about how much they make. They're using the same income claims on the same shit. Like, what you made last year it's not relevant to now. And people aren't being honest about their journey. And people they're not going to buy my book, right? They're going to buy the idea that maybe if they download my book, and maybe if they took the time to create self-awareness, which is their job, not mine. I'm not attached to whether or not they're going to work. I'm not attached to whether or not they buy the book, right? Because they have to buy the book and go through the journal prompts. They have to put pen to paper, because your subconscious mind is going to stick that way when you are more senses, right? Can you type it? Yeah, but it's not going to stick like putting a pen to paper. There's an energetic transfer when you write down. When I did marketing classes, before we even started the class, we wrote on a sheet of paper, I'm so happy and grateful for $10,000. I didn't even start the class until everyone had written that down 100 times. And my mentor told me to do it, and I resisted it. I'm like, this is dumb. Because I didn't understand. He didn't explain the transfer of energy. He knew what he was doing. But you know what? I was smart, and I didn't question him. I did it. And I made my first 30 days, I made my first sale, right? So we have people do these things where their logic mind, their work-based employee mind wants to do the thing. No, I just want to do the next video. I just want the customer. Well, are you deserving of a customer? Because when a customer comes in, that customer could potentially come in forever. You could be doing life with that customer. Are you prepared to spend time with that customer? Are you prepared to get on the phone with them and help them walk through a challenge? Because if you're not, just go do something else. Don't put yourself in a position to share something that you don't believe in, right? Don't have credibility in. My son is adorable. He's got my sandals on right now. My 3 kids are all, I gotta show you just really quick, because this is freedom, right? Like, they're just all playing right here. Climate.
Awesome.
Austin's got my shoes on. So in starting this work, it's really, and this is what helped me, because it wasn't, I did the activities every week. I created two events I created on Facebook. I went live every day with the gratitude challenge. I sent my DMs. Like, I did all of the marketing strategies, but I also took an hour a day throughout the day, right? 10 minutes, I'd write my gratitudes in the morning. 10 minutes, I'd write my gratitudes at night. My car literally became an education on wheels. For 2 years, I didn't listen to music. Everything was Tony Robbins, or God bless the late, great Bob Proctor, who just passed away. I was watching a podcast. Like everything was feeding this new version of who I was becoming. It wasn't like I've got this side gig and I'm just going to do it 2 hours a day and that's it, because I had to become a whole new
Right.
person to make 10,000 a month, 20,000 a month, 30,000 a month. Like old Jen didn't believe she could
Right.
do that. So I had to feed myself and feed the education. And that's what we do inside of our community, and it's free. I mean, you're getting everything I know, everything I have. Yeah, there's some other things that cost $17, $27. I wouldn't say anything that we sell is expensive. I mean, not again, as a seminar junkie, I spent a lot of money. I believe that the information is transformational. And what I've come to learn, there's a saying in business, when your heart is in it, your wallet's in it. So people will pay for transformation to get it quicker. But that's not everybody, because people won't do what they want. They do what they need to do. So I'll give you an example. I have a mentor that's a billionaire, and he was in the Brotherhood, a secret society. And so one of the techniques that the Brotherhood does is they will take your head and they will dunk it in water and drown you. And you'll get a little bit of water. You'll come up, right? Now you trust your brothers, so you know that everything's for the greater good. But you're also going, what the fuck did you just, I could have just died. Point of view
Right.
matters. So because Kevin had trust in the brothers, and it was his mentor that was teaching him, he said, when you want money, like you just needed your breath, you will make it happen. And not a moment before. Yeah. And most people don't do it until they need it. And then they're normally calling me and they're like, Jen, I lost my job. This has to work. Don't work like that. It can, and it might, but you're the one that's got to have the work ethic. You're the one that has to have full responsibility over you and your decisions and your choices, because the course that didn't work wasn't the course's fault. You didn't allow the course to experience. People buy courses and don't log in, and then they're like, that course didn't work. But you didn't.
Did the course not work? Yeah.
You watch 3 or 4 or 5 modules, like in high school, that would be called a dropout.
Right.
So you don't show back up to school, you're a dropout. So let's just be real, be honest, no shame, right? Be honest with yourself, because no one else cares. Like, the other thing is, people think that people think about them more than they are thought about. No one gives a shit about what I'm doing today, right? It's me and my kids, we're minding our own business. No one's worried, but people go onto camera with like this, what if 1 million people saw? I don't even know. I don't that resistance. I can remember going on camera for the first time, and I don't know what to say. I don't know. It's because I didn't know who I was talking to. Of course, you don't know what to say. Who you're talking to. But when your clarity on the pain, and I'm going to touch on this, because this is the biggest mistake that's being made in manifesting, is the pleasure side. And so if we do not connect to the pain, then no one trusts us to buy, because we buy on an emotional, we make decisions emotionally and then we justify them logically. So even if you think about someone who's going to shop at Walmart, their pain is they can't afford Target, they can't afford Trader Joe's, right? There's a pain, and Walmart's the solution, right? They might shop at McDonald's, they're spending money, but there's a pain, I can't take my kids to Red Robin, right? There's a settling, we've settled, and now the settle is our new normal. So if we're not achieving to do the Red Robin, then we're settling for the McDonald's. If we're not achieving to shop at Target, then we're settling for the Walmart. Now, the biggest thing that people make the mistake on in manifesting is there's no attachment to the pain in the beginning. So for me, when I got started, that pain was the idea of leaving my home and not being able to nurse. What if Kaden takes a step and I miss it? What if she giggles and I miss it? What if she walks? What if she does a cartwheel? Like, I wanted to be a part of every single milestone. So that pain kept me moving forward, even through the foreclosure, even through all the stuff. The idea of going to work and missing my daughter's childhood hurt worse than me going back to work. And that pain still drives me, right? I can very, very, very vividly remember sitting at my kitchen table and just 800 numbers fucking blowing up, like 1 an hour, right? You have 13 calls. They're all calling you 3 times a day. You're trying to create payment plans. It's overwhelming. I remember what that's like. So when I share that story, I'm talking to the person who understands that, not anybody else, right? I can remember having a $50 bill, going to Dollar Tree and praying, because I got as much as I could for $50, but praying it didn't go over 50 because then I'd be embarrassed and I'd have to put stuff back. So she's bringing it up, and in my mind, I'm all full of anxious, right? Like, what if it goes over? I'm like watching her add it up. I'm like, okay, what's the most expensive thing? I'll take that off first. Is anyone lying? Is anyone going to think like you're embarrassed? You're humiliated. And in those moments are when we make a decision. I will never fucking go through this again. I will never put myself through this again. I'll never put my kids through this again. And until that decision is made from your own heart and soul, you just want it. And wanting it isn't enough to keep you in.
So in, 1 or 2 sentences, what would you say to the person that says, but that $50 is all I have, and now you want me to give it to you?
Yeah, no, don't give it to me. No, I would say, no, don't give it to me. That would be very irresponsible for me to say. There's this word called resourcefulness, right? I have a belief system that the universe always has my back. And again, I've had to program this. Everything always works out for my greater good. This is temporary. More money's coming. More customers are coming. Everything I need is already here, right? Because there's a veil.
Right.
So when you're in that moment of being at the grocery store and your income is limited, that's a very real moment. And if you do not have self-awareness that you can create something else, don't give anybody your money. Feed your kids, pay your bills. But I would say buy the book, The Magic, or I would say come into get our free app. So we have an app created that has journaling prompts and daily affirmations. And I would challenge anyone who says that they can create a life without writing it down. No, they can't. Go bring me a millionaire that has built the life of their dreams and didn't write anything down, or didn't visualize with all 5 of their sentences, or didn't, create a plan, right? Even a business plan on paper is writing things down. I remember hiring my first coach in real estate. And he said, you need to write a business plan. And I thought, well, I had to Google a business plan. Luckily, he brought his. So he was like, here's an example of a business plan. It was thick. It's like 13, 14, 20 pages. I don't remember. But it was a plan. And what I've come to understand is most people will plan for all the good. I'm going to make 10,000 and I'm going to take my kids to Disneyland. And then we're going to go on this vacation and then we're going to do this. But they don't plan for life. So then they call because their parakeet died and they can't do business. And then they call because their kid is sick and they can't do business. And then they call because another excuse and then another excuse. It's like, what's the plan for that? What's the plan for the 2 foreclosures? What's the plan when the money runs out? What's the plan? And if you don't have a plan for that, you'll never succeed because you have to plan for the failure and for the crash. Most people will call me at the crash and be like, Jen, I tried to help you. Tried to tell you were going off a cliff.
And I think that's such a good point that, like, if someone's not ready to help themselves and admit that who they are right now is not the person who's going to hit that 10K milestone, and they're not ready to do that inner work, then they're not ready to own a business or to make money online or to do the work, because it starts with acknowledging who you are and being willing to say, today me can't do it. I have to do the inner work. I have to I have to have that so that tomorrow me is successful.
And let me back up real quick because it's both, right? Two truths can exist at the same time. So when I was doing the inner work, I was still making money because I focused on my strengths. Fuck my weaknesses. I learned another valuable lesson is you learn to hire out your weaknesses. You're either going to develop it or you're going to hire that shit out. I'd rather hire it out, right? Maybe I'll develop it later on, but I don't need to build a funnel. I don't need to do all the things. I can pay someone else to do it and share, collaborate, right? Share and equal wealth. So I don't want anyone thinking like, oh my gosh, I got to stop working my business so I can go through the inner circle and go through this coaching. No. It's both, because whatever you're doing in your business, you already have a skill at. What we're going to teach you how to do is to bring the skill to life, to bring in the income.
It's part of
and
that
shift
bridge,
your focus
some of those planks.
That's part of the bridge. Yes, right, absolutely. So I'm a big fan of earning while you learn. I just think it works out better for all of us that way. So you should be doing that.
Definitely.
Yes.
So I know we've been on a while. Thank you so much for, sharing all of this. I think it's so helpful to actually just get it out. And so where can people find you, find this information? How can they dig in deeper and work with you?
Yeah, it's a great question. So you can comment app below because I don't have the app quite yet in my Stan store, but I will. You can go to stanstore.com/dailypay with Jen, stan.store.com. It's right there, Daily Pay with Jen. That link is on any profile that you're looking at right now. My community is free. Our app is free. So you can also just comment wherever you're watching this. We'll make sure we get that app link to you. I'll get the app put into my store today. We have a community where we teach you how to make money and how to release all of these things. We're in the middle of rebranding it right now. It's called Social Domination, but we're going to change the wording on that. Put some new modules in there for you guys. If you want to learn how to start making money online, there's all kinds of resources in that link. There's several ways to get started. I do a few one-on-one coaching. I don't do a lot of them, but I will for the right person, if they, someone that wants the results much faster. But I do this daily, right? I've got about, 8 income streams that I sell on social media, as well as overcoming my health challenges, right? Finding love again, like all the things I'm manifesting in my life. And it's free for you to learn how to do it, because what I do isn't special. I've just learned how to channel my emotions in a way that allows me to have this sense of control, this sense of security, which is when you're in trust and when you're in alignment. You ever heard like when I'm in the zone, like, ooh, I'm in the zone. Customers are calling, sales are going, like I'm in the zone, right? Well, you can actually create the state of mind and put yourself into the zone. That's a process. That's the bridge, right? There's cognitive dissonance. So there's a bridge. But when you get to a place where you put yourself in the zone, you don't wait for the zone to come to you, because you're never going to do it when you feel like doing it. But you can put yourself into that zone, and that's when things get really good. I won't share those stories.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We will do these more often. If you enjoy them, let us know. Let us know what other questions you have that we can share or bring other experts on to talk about. So this has been fun. Thank you so much, Jen.
Yes. Thank you. Absolutely. This is my pleasure. I would love to do this more.
Awesome.
So, my favorite thing to talk about.
Perfect.
Yes.
Well, thank